What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a first for me. This car that we're working on now is actually a viewer's car. He watched the video where I did the emissions delete on the 335D. I'm sure if many of you are here watching this video, you've probably seen that video already. He contacted me after watching that video. He was local to me and wanted me to do all the same stuff to his car. This car has a little bit more mileage than most of the cars that I've dealt with in the past that we're doing these emissions delete stuff to. This car actually has 147,000 miles on it. We're gonna be doing a lot of maintenance stuff while we're in there. It's actually more maintenance stuff than it is emissions delete stuff, but we want the car right. We want everything to be okay because after we do the emissions delete stuff, he's planning on tuning it and turning it up a little bit. So we want to make sure that all the other stuff is in order so that you don't have any problems from that after doing all the emissions delete stuff and putting a tune on it. So what we're going to be doing in this video series is a lot, like I said, a lot of maintenance stuff. And then our performance stuff here. We're going to be doing a water pump with a thermostat, a new harmonic balancer, because these actually have a tendency to come apart here in this rubber area around between the inner part where it bolts to the crank and the outside part where it drives the belts. They'll either come apart completely. I've actually seen them fly off and do quite a bit of damage to things, or just start to crack and you'll get some slippage of this outer pulley in relation to this inner pulley, and it'll cause you to have some charging system faults, alternator, battery warning light, and a little bit reduced power steering. I've seen that as well. While we're in there, we're going to be doing glow plug controller along with glow plugs. That's another maintenance issue. These normally around 100,000 plus miles start to show issues. What'll happen is you'll get a fault for a single glow plug, and then you go in there and replace a glow plug, and then it sets a fault for another glow plug, and then after a couple of glow plugs go bad, they actually burn the controller up. So we're going to just be replacing all that stuff at this time, just as preventative maintenance. We're going to be doing belts while we're in there doing this harmonic balancer. Oil filter for an oil change, fuel filter. We're going to do engine mounts and transmission mounts. That's all maintenance stuff, as well as oil pan gasket due to us having a little bit of an oil leak. The performance side and emissions delete side of it, this is going to be your downpipe that replaces your diesel particulate filter. Swirl flap delete, EGR delete block off plate along with the spacer between the throttle body and intake manifold that deletes the EGR valve. You saw me replace these and this in that previous diesel video. We're also going to be doing the upper elbow for the intake hose off of the throttle body. This is actually a pretty common failure point when you start tuning these cars and turning up the boost, just because there's a plastic coupler on the end of the factory hose. That coupler actually breaks under higher boost pressure, so this is a more secure connection. And then same issue with the lower, where this attaches to the turbo, is a plastic connection as well. We're going to be replacing it with this silicone hose and these metal couplers to prevent that stuff from coming apart as well. And then also, along with the diesel emissions delete stuff and performance stuff, we're also going to be doing a set of front and rear sway bars, and then the box underneath that is a box of Vegan Racing coilover, so we're going to be doing that while we have it as well. So this is going to be video one, and I don't even know how many videos it's going to be. I'm going to try to do things that are in the same area and following the same lines of repair procedures. So harmonic balancers all the way at the bottom of the front of the engine. Obviously, in order to get to it, I'm going to have to take apart fan and belts and stuff like that. But I'm also, while I'm in there, going to be able to do the thermostat and water pump and the EGR delete, since we're going to have all the stuff off the front of the motor. So I'm going to try to do videos where I explain how to get to those things, and then individual videos where I explain how to do each individual component. Just so you guys have a good understanding of what's involved if you're planning on doing this on your own at home. I'm just trying to help everybody out. So we're going to start on this here. I'm not really sure what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start taking some stuff apart and look into what's going to be easiest, but this will be the first video and there'll be more to come. So let's get started. All right, so in this video, we're going to be doing thermostat and water pump on this diesel. Not too difficult of a job. I will go over everything that we've got to do in order to take this apart and get these two things replaced. First, you're going to start off with taking this cowling piece off 2 T20s here. And that will get you this out, and this just pulls out of the air box over here. So we're gonna get this cowling off. That'll get you access to your fan, which is also gonna have to come out. So let's get the cowling off, and then I'll explain to you how to get the fan out. All right, I want to show you guys when you're taking this part off of this air box over here, there's actually a locking tab right there that you have to press in order to get this tube to pull out of this box. So when you're trying to pull the tube out, just make sure you press this locking tab on the side, and the tube will pull right out. All right, so I wanted to show you guys doing this intake hose. When you're taking it off, there's a clip here, slide clip here in it, that you're gonna pop up with either like a pocket screwdriver or a pick, and then you're gonna pull the hose back just a little bit till it's past this groove here in this throttle body. And then once it comes back that far, you're gonna have to push the clip back in, otherwise it hits this exhaust gas temp sensor, and then you're gonna pull your hose off and push it over here out of the way. I like to unplug my throttle body wiring, just so when you're trying to push this hose through this area, you don't pull on this wiring too much and damage it. So I unplug the throttle body wiring, put it up over here, and then flex this hose over here out of the way to give you the clearance to get your fan out. So fan connection unplugs here, just 2 locking tabs on it. Set that plug connection up out of the way, and then in the corner over here is a T25. You're going to undo that, and then you're just going to pull your fan straight up out of here. Just make sure that when you do it, you unclip the hoses along the bottom. There's actually a hose right here in the middle that you're going to want to unclip so you don't break it, or the hose clips that hold it on. And then once you unclip that hose and undo that T25, we're going to pull our fan out. All right, so we got our fan out. Like I told you guys, there's a hose that's clipped in here, here, and here. Just make sure you pop the hose out of these clips and set it behind it so you can pull your fan straight out. And then also, one thing that I forgot and I noticed when I was trying to pull it out, if you're looking up from underneath the car, right in this corner, there's a transmission cooler. There's 2 transmission lines that come in it and some coolant hoses come off of it, and there's a screw right here, T25 as well, that actually holds that transmission cooler slotted into this area, this radiator, or this fan. So when you're laying underneath the car, you look up on this side of it, driver's side, you will see a T25. You got to pull that out too, and then your fan just pulls right out. All right, so now that we got the fan out of the way, it's going to make it a lot easier to get everything on this. So we're going to start taking this EGR cooler off. Going to have to take the coolant hose here off. It again has just 2 snap style clips that you take out with a pick like this. And then we're going to undo our plug connection here for this. Take our vacuum line, supply line here that comes from the engine itself to this off. There's another coolant hose connection right here. Let's see if you guys can see that right here. Another coolant hose connection right here. And then there is a 13 here and a 13 right there holding the EGR cooler to the block. And then there's also 2 T45, I believe, T50. I will correct myself here in the video once I figure out what size they are. Back there that hold the EGR cooler into the exhaust manifold itself. And then over here, you have a screw style worm gear connection here that clamps this to the intake hose here. And then plug connection here for your EGR temp sensor. So we're going to get all this stuff taken off, and we'll get your EGR cooler pulled out. All right, so I'm showing this with the EGR cooler removed just for purposes of clarity to make it easier for you guys to see. So what you're gonna have to do once you get down in here, you don't have to take the EGR cooler off, you can. There'll be another video on how to do that on this car, but you're gonna take your lower radiator hose connection off. Again, it's one of those snap style clips, pulls up, pull it off, drain your coolant out. And then you're also gonna want to undo this clip right here that's holding this coolant pipe in to the thermostat slash, it's actually the thermostat housing itself. There's a 10 underneath the intake plenum right there that's holding that hose down to the engine block. Just undo that 10, unscrew it out of there so you can get some play in this plastic hose, and then once you get the play in the plastic hose, you can pry it out of that thermostat housing. We're going to get that taken care of, and then I'll show you what's next. All right, so we got the lower radiator hose off. This upper tube is not out, but it's loose in here. As you can see, I took the clip out. I always have a habit with BMWs of taking the clips out of hoses before trying to pull them off, because sometimes when you pull them off, they hit other things and go flying, get lost in the abyss of the engine bay. So I've gotten in a habit of just taking the clip off while the hose is still in place, setting the clip off to the side so it doesn't get lost, and then pulling your hose off. So this hose doesn't actually come out of here all the way just because it starts to hit the engine block here. It can be taken out of there, but I don't like to try to put too much stress on it just because this is older BMW plastic, and we all know that older BMW plastic has a tendency to break. So I'm going to undo my thermostat, pull my thermostat out, and then pull it off of the end of this hose. One trick that I've learned through the years is when you're trying to figure out how to take something off if you don't have repair instructions, is to get your new part and figure out how many screws hold your old part on and where they're at, and then make your life a lot easier in trying to take this apart. So we're going to get the screws pulled out of that and get that thermostat pulled out of there, and then the next step is going to be to take the belt off so that we can start taking our water pump out. So let's get the thermostat out and we'll get the belt off. Alright, so we got our thermostat out. Like I said, it's got 4 10s that hold it in there. Took it out, pulled it off to the side, pulled it off the end of the coolant hose. Now we took our belt off. The belt comes off with this tensioner right here. It is a 22mm socket, and it to take tension off of it, you loosen it like you're loosening a bolt, and it takes the tension off, and then I just popped it off of the water pump pulley here. So now we're going to pull our water pump out. Like I said before, easiest way to figure out where your screws are is to take out your new part and look and see where your screws are. As you can see, I got 4 bolts holding this water pump to the engine block, and looking down there, they appear to be T30s. So we're going to get this water pump pulled out and get the new one put on. Alright, so we got our new water pump and thermostat both put in. One thing I wanted to point out to you guys, when doing this water pump gasket, the factory gasket is actually part of the front timing cover gasket, and it's held in the bottom corner here, top right hand corner here, and then actually top right hand corner here, bottom corner down here. It's in the top, bottom left, top right, and bottom right corners. It's actually part of the front timing cover gasket, and what I ended up having to do was cut 2 of them that I could see with a pair of like side cutters, and then the third one I actually just bunched the gasket up and spun it until it broke the little tab. It's just this little thin tab off of it that holds it to the rest of the thing, the rest of the timing cover gasket. And then the new water pump came with a gasket that was just this plain shape right here without the little tabs on it. So put the new water pump gasket on, got the new water pump put on, new thermostat put on, hose is clipped in, put the screw back in here. Now that we're done with that, we're going to get everything up here put back together, get our cooling system filled back up and bled, and we should be good with that. Alright, so we got the thermostat and water pump replaced. Once you get done with doing that, you put your drive belt back on, put your cooling fin back in, reverse order of the way you took it apart. Put your intake hose back on, top up and bleed your cooling system, make sure that you don't have any leaks there. Next video in this series, I'm going to go over how to do the harmonic balancer and the drive belts. AC belt on this car is actually a stretch belt. There's a little bit of special procedure in order to do that, but I will go over how to replace that, and I also show you how to do the harmonic balancer. If you guys like this video and it helps you doing your thermostat water pump on your diesel BMW, I'd appreciate a like. If you guys have any questions about this job, comment down below. I'd appreciate if you guys to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later.